Hi, and welcome to Memorial High School Technology Committee's screencast on how to create Google Forms and use them as an assessment tool in your classroom. So the first thing we always want to do is enter our drive and click New, click More, and then click Google Forms. Google Forms has a purple bulleted tab. I've already created one, so let's look at it. So the first thing that we always want to do when we start is set our parameters. Up here are our parameters. The first one is require Western New York Board of Education login to view this form. The second one talks about automatically collect respondents' Western New York Board of Education username. That's their email. I don't check this one on because it sends the students a copy of their responses. The next one is show progress bar at the bottom of form pages. Next, I do click on allow only one response per person. That way the student can only take the test once, and I always shuffle my answer orders. Now the next thing I like to do is always populate the name of it. It always says Untitled Google Form. For this test, I'll make a Google Forms example. Once you populate it inside this box, it automatically populates inside here. So whatever you name it down here, it'll go in here. Next, let's take a look at the questions. So these first few questions are called identifier questions. These questions identify the student's name, first name, and period. You need them for later on when you run your flu brew. Next, let's look at how to make a question. So usually if I click on the box here, you see that we have the question. I put last name, and here we have the types of questions you can ask. So this isn't a full list. You could also use some other types of questions and manipulate them. They're not exactly questions, but they do work well. So we have a text question, a paragraph question, multiple choice, checkbox, which is a multi-response. You're able to choose more than one answer by checking on boxes. Choose from a list, scale from 1 to 10, grid, date, and time. At the top here, there's also a tab where you can look at all the type of questions, advanced questions, and layout. So here we have the box. Like I said, we have all these types of questions. We have a text question, which is short answer. We have a paragraph text, which is essay question. We have multiple choice that is delineated by a circle. We have checkbox, where you check off the number of answers that you want. It could be 2, 3, 4, 5. Rule of thumb that I use is I always make it at least 2. You have choose from a list, which gives you a drop box with answer choices. We have scale 1 through 10, grid, date, time. This is great tools right here. These are some great tools. Section header allows you to break a test up into different parts. Let's say you're giving a test and it has Macbeth, section 1, and Native Son, section 2. You would choose a section header and name it Macbeth. In that section for Macbeth, you could put up, let's say, 5 questions. Then in the next section, you would put in another 5 questions for Native Son. What ends up happening is that once you make these section headers and you scramble the question order, it will only scramble the questions that are within that header. So the Macbeth questions will not mingle with the Native Son questions. We can also page break. This is great for when you have a long exam, like a final, and you have a lot of questions. You don't want the student to be scrolling through a couple of pages. By using page break, it's better for the student, and it allows them to navigate more freely back and forth in the test and more easily. Next, we have an image and we have a video. Later on, I'll show you how to use a video and attach a question to the bottom. So now, let's get back to the test. List name, last name. You see that we have a required question checkbox. If you check this box, an asterisk will appear next to the question when the student takes the test. What that denotes is that the student must answer any question with an asterisk in order to move on. It's a great tool because kids usually forget their name when they get engulfed in the test and sometimes try to get away with not doing the essay, by using the required question checkbox, a student will always have to put something in the box in order for them to be able to submit the test. Let's take a look at period. Period has a drop box, choose from a list. So what's great about Google Forms is that, say you have this test already made on a Google Doc, and you have a multiple choice of A, B, C, and D. If you highlight straight down, copy it, and paste it in the first box, it will populate all 4 boxes. So you don't have to go back and forth between each test for each answer choice. It's a great time saver. So now let's look at multimedia questions. So here I set my header, I inserted the header text, which is multimedia question, and I inserted a description. But now I have to insert a video. So let's go and insert a video. We come up here, click insert, go to video, and it's going to open up a YouTube search engine. In here, we put the name of our video. The Myth of Human Nature. Search, and the one that I want is right here. I double click, and now at the bottom, it will show up on my test. Now you're saying this is a very small video. That's an easy fix. All we do is click on the video and drag till we can't drag anymore. And now the student will have a nice big screen to view the video. Click done. And now we have our video. So now I have my question underneath it already. This is a multi-response question. On my multi-response, you'll see that there are boxes. Since I used this test last year, what I did was I copied all these answer choices from my test, placed it in here, and populated all of these. Another option that's great, that if we scroll down, click advance, and we see that we have this shuffle order option. By using this option, all the answer choices will be shuffled when the student takes the test. It's a great option to have. Sometimes you have students sitting next to each other in close proximity and they're looking over. This ensures that all the students will have different tests. So now let's move down and look at our multi-choice response. So what I did was, again, I created a header. I named it multiple choice and multi-response. I added a description that says that all these multi-response questions will have at least 2 boxes that have to be checked, and that all multiple choice will be circles. Here we have a multi-response, a multiple choice, and another multiple choice. And last but not least, we have our essay question. The essay question, as you can see, has the asterisk next to it. Students know now that they must complete this question in order to submit the test. And that's how we create a Google Forms test. On the bottom here are some other parameters that you could use. Show the link to submit another response. That's if you want the student to take this test more than once. I don't allow them to do it. I never have it checked. This one we should never have unchecked because it allows other people outside the district to take the test. And here we have allow responders to edit the response after submitting. This comes in handy because sometimes a student clicks submit and doesn't finish the question. When that happens, you just go back to your Google form, go to the bottom, click it, and have the student log back in and click edit. Right now, I'll demonstrate that for you. In order to have the answers on the test, you can't just add them like in other apps. You have to take the test. So usually, I know the answers or I have the answer key next to me. So let's click live form in order to see the test. So since I've taken the test already, what happens is that I get this edit your response tab. In order for me to take the test again and fix my answers, I have to click this tab on. So now here we have the edit response. Let's go and check it out. This is exactly what we're going to have on the test. The students are going to see. And as you can see, we do have the asterisk, and it does remind them that this is a required question. All students must complete this question in order to finish any part of this test. Now let's look at our Dropbox. So here's our Dropbox. We open it up. Let's take a closer look. So as you can see, we have the box created. Everybody can see that I chose shuffle option order, shuffle answer order. So before it was 1, 4, 5, 6. Now it's inverted. And it's always going to be different. So now every question that you put shuffle option order will be changed. It's a great way to keep the kids off balance. Next, let's look at our multimedia question. As you can see, since we enlarged it, now they can see the video much better. Once they view the video, they come down, and as you can see, these were all shuffled once again. I've already answered them. These are the correct answers, since this is my answer key. As I showed you before, I put my name answer and my name key so I can find it easily when I decide to grade it. Now, here comes our section header for multiple choice and multiple response with a brief description. What I told the students was that each one of these check boxes type questions, multi-response, will have at least 2 answer choices. And the multiple choice will have 1. Last but not least, here we have our essay question. As you can see, the asterisk is telling us and telling the student that they must write some sort of essay. For grading purposes, I only wrote 1 sentence, but make sure that students write the whole essay. Now that I'm done, I click submit, and the test is done. Now, some important things to notice about our Google Forms is that every time you create a Google Form, a spreadsheet where the answers are generated is added. You could usually see them in responses, view responses, or you could go to view responses here. In order to share it, all we have to do is send form. Click on shorten URL, press Control copy, copy it, go to our Google Classroom. As you can see, I've already created one, so I'll show you how I did it. By clicking on the plus button below, right over here, I'm able to save it. I named it, the link button, I paste it, click add, click save. Now you have the link right here for your students. That's all for today. Thank you for watching MHS Technology Committee's screencast on how to utilize Google Forms as an assessment tool in your classroom. This is brought to you by Team Beard and my partner in crime, Josh Barrett. I'm Juan Lugo, and have a safe day.